Hello, welcome to One Africa Mission with your brother Dobia Anzanse. Please, if you are new here, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, One Africa Mission, and also follow us on Facebook, One Africa Mission. We are missionaries. We are on a mission, and our mission is to fight for the unification of Africa. Our mission is solely for the unification of Africa. So please first subscribe to our YouTube channel and also follow us on Facebook, One Africa Mission. Let us all come together and then join this mission. Or let us fight for the unification of Africa, because this is the only way we as African people can gain back our respect. We have been disrespected for so long, and me and you know that the reason why we are being disrespected like this is because of our lack of strength. And then we can never have the strength. We can never be strong without unity. United we stand, divided we fall. All the disrespect, whatever has happened to us, to the continent of Africa, and still happening to us today, it is because those doing that to us know that we are weak. And the reason why we are weak is because they deliberately went to Berlin, sit down among themselves, and divide Africa among themselves. They sit down together and divide Africa among themselves. And the reason why they did that was to divide us, because they know as long as we are divided, we will continue to be weak. And as long as we are weak, they will continue to control us. And that is exactly the plan that they came out with. The strategy that they came out with is working perfectly for them. So it is up to us today. We have tried everything. We have tried military governance. We have tried the so-called democracy. We have tried whatever. It is still not working for Africa. Still, Africa is in bondage. Africa is under control of the colonizers. Africa is under the control of the West. So in order for us to bring an end to this, is for us to try something that our forefathers tried to achieve, and this is the unification of Africa. So I'm calling on all Africans, the youth of Africa especially, if we want to bring an end to what is happening to us today, to our leaders today, then we must fight to see this unification become a reality. So as we are talking about the unity of Africa, and as we are talking about the weakness, the cause of weakness of for the African continent and the children of Africa, I want us to go and watch this short clip by the president of Uganda, what he said, and then you will now understand why we are calling on the children of Africa today, the youth of Africa, to try as much as possible as we can to fight for this unification of Africa. Join the train, join any platform, any Pan-African group that is fighting for the unification of Africa. Please get one and join. And also, I'm calling on the leadership of all these Pan-African groups to try and bring all these groups together so that we can have a strong voice to fight for this unification of Africa, because we are sick and tired of us as African people being disrespected like the way we are being disrespected today. All over the world, the African race, we are being disrespected not because we are Africans, but because we are living in a continent that is weak. And as long as you don't have strength, your citizens will be disrespected. Years ago, some decades ago, Chinese people were going through the same thing we are today, but they came out with deliberate policies. And today, because China is respected, all over the world, the citizens of China are respected. And because Europe is respected all over the world, the citizens of Europeans, wherever they found themselves, even in a village, they are being respected. All over the world, if you found an American, even in a hole, the American citizen is respected. But everywhere in the world you find an African, that African is being disrespected. Why? Because the continent of Africa is weak. Because anybody know that whatever they do to you, there will not be consequences. And this is the reason why we are calling on the youth of Africa to rise up for the unification of Africa, because it is only a united Africa that can bring an end to all what is happening to us today. So let us watch this short clip from the president of Uganda and see the reason why we are calling on the youth of Africa to rise up for the unification of Africa. Let us go and see.
Now, on one occasion, I didn't go that time. These excellencies this one here, Jacob Zuma, and the others. I was not there, but my minister was among them. They entered a plane in Nouakchott in his place. They were going to Libya to mediate. And they were told by NATO to go back. Yes. Said, you go back. Yes, he's here. If I'm telling lies, I'm not the one who invited him, you're the one who invited him. African presidents on an African mission over African soil were ordered by NATO to go back. That NATO has not allowed them to land in Libya. Now, we call this in Swahili dharau, contempt. This is contempt. So now you can weigh yourselves now. Your presidents were ordered by NATO. 6 of them, not one. If it was only 7, maybe you could say. Six excellencies, African excellencies, were ordered, go back. Over Africa. Now, these fellows didn't listen to us. They continued. They killed Gaddafi. Now Libya is in tatters. Up to today. And the problem did not only end in Libya. It went into Mali. It has gone now into Chad. The whole area is in flames. Egypt, yes. So now you see where you are. You were weak. Because of your weakness, you are colonized. Fortunately, we survived. And by a combination of factors, we got our freedom again. But we did not use our freedom to make ourselves stronger. We remained where we were. And now, the former colonialists are coming back to continue where they had left off.
Yes, so as you can see, the president of Uganda is talking about 6 African leaders when NATO was on their mission to assassinate, to murder President brother Muhammad Gaddafi. When NATO was on that mission to murder this leader of Africa, the leadership of Africa, the African Union selected 6 presidents. And this is not a laughing matter. You can see President Museveni is talking about it and people are laughing. We have to be serious as African people. Selected 6 African leaders to go and mediate in the continent of Africa. We keep talking about Africans finding solution to our own. You can never find solution to your own problems if you are being controlled by somebody. They will look for solutions because they are the creators of your problems. So 6 African leaders was chosen by the African Union to go to Libya to find a solution to the crisis there. According to President Museveni, NATO today, who are asking Africa to support them in Russia, NATO told the African leaders to go back home. Why? Like seriously, NATO told them to go back home. Ordered them to go back home. And they will have to return back. Why? Because NATO know that these people, they are still under our control. This is so serious. This is really serious. We all know that this is what is happening to us. But the level of disrespect from NATO, these Western countries, is appalling. Could they do that? Could they do the same thing to China? Who else can they do that to apart from Africa? They still have this kind of mentality that Africa is under their control. And it is true. Africa is still under the control of this Western world. And the only way we can bring an end to this is for us to stand up as African people, unite this continent and build it as a strong force so that nobody cannot sit down and order our leaders. If they can do this to your leaders, what about you, the citizens of Africa? This is a question that we have to be asking ourselves. If NATO can order African leaders to go back home because their mission is to go and assassinate Muammar Gaddafi, not because Muammar Gaddafi is a bad leader, but because Muammar Gaddafi is standing up for the children of Africa. If they can do that to Africa, a leader, do you think there will be another leader who will rise up to that of Muammar Gaddafi? No, because they could start a war in your country and order other people not to even come to your rescue. If they could do this, and then we are talking about it as if like a joke, like we are joking, we are laughing over it. But this is serious. And this is the reason why we have no option, we the children of Africa today. If we want to have a dignity as African citizens, we have no option then to fight for the unification of Africa. We have to put aside whatever differences we have and see that we are all suffering. Why? We are all being disrespected, not because of our religious differences, not because of our political differences, but because we are African people. And we are living in a continent that is the weakest continent on this planet Earth. And nobody will ever respect us until we stand up as men and women of this great continent and make it great, or greater than it is today, or than it was before. We have everything. We have the men and women to make Africa great. The only thing we don't have for now, or we are not able to come to the realization, is that a stronger Africa can only come from a united Africa. President Museveni talked about we fight and then we gain for some reason we gain our freedom, but we couldn't use our independence to fight for a stronger Africa. We could not have done that when we couldn't iron our differences and bring Africa to as a united Africa. Africa could not have been stronger if Africa would have been stronger if we had listened to the people like Kwame Nkrumah and unite Africa. It is so disturbing, to be honest. African children, I am calling on you, the citizens of Africa. If only we want a better Africa, if we want our leadership to be respected, if only we want the citizens of Africa to be respected, then we have no option. We have no other option than to see a united Africa. We don't know how it will come by, but with your strength and energy, if we bring our energies together, we can achieve this. This President and to the leadership of Africa, you know the problem, you know the solution as well. You can talk whatever you want to say. You can say whatever. You can make jokes out of it. You can be serious out of it. But nobody will ever respect you until your continent is respected. You can only gain that respect through unity. That is why we're calling on you, the leadership, to start speaking about the unification of Africa. So if you guys could not no wonder you guys were going to Ukraine and the people of Ukraine tell you that this situation is beyond. Now I understand. When the government a spokesperson, Zelensky spokesperson, said that this crisis in Ukraine is beyond Africa. That you are only coming out with your primitive whatever he called you people. Now I understand why he said that. Because if NATO could order six African leaders to go back to their homes in your own soil, what are you doing in Ukraine to look for peace? You couldn't have you couldn't have dialogue between your own in your own continent, because NATO say no. And today NATO is fighting Russia, and then you go in there to mediate. Come on. Now I understand when the Ukrainian government spokesperson was saying that Africans, this conflict in Ukraine, the NATO conflict in Ukraine against Russia is beyond Africa. I didn't understand. I was thinking that this guy is being disrespectful and stuff like that. But now I understand why he said that. Because in your own continent, when NATO attacked one of you, we could not go to Libya to negotiate between the so-called rebels and the President Gaddafi, brother Gaddafi. Because on your way there, NATO told you not to go. They will not allow you to land. In your own continent, what disrespect could be more than this? The children of Africa. For how long are we going to take this kind of disrespect from these so-called Western countries? For how long? Please, the children of Africa, it is about time we stand up for our own dignity, not for ourselves, not just for ourselves, but for the next generation. Those who came before us have done what they could have done for the continent. Today, it is up for me and you to bring an end to this. Enough should be enough for us. I thank you very much for coming around. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join as an African citizen. Please rise up and join any Pan-African group that is fighting for the unification of Africa. There are numerous, hundreds and thousands of them. I can only mention few. One African mission is here. One Map Africa, Continental African Revolution, ACUP is there. Emancipation of Africans is there. And there are a lot. Join one of them. And also I am calling on all these Pan-African group leadership. Please bring these Pan-African groups together so that together we can all fight for the unification of Africa. It is about time we bring all this. We put aside our egos and then bring these groups to. We should not repeat the mistakes of those who came before us. As I keep saying in every video, if we didn't have the so-called Morovia and Casablanca group, if our ancestors were able to iron their differences and bring these groups together, they could have achieved a united Africa. They couldn't do that. So we have to learn from that mistake and stop creating too many different groups and realize that all these groups must come together and forge ahead for the unification of Africa. We are sick and tired of our leaders and the continent of Africa being disrespected by people who have nothing. We have everything. The men and women with the intellect, we have it. We have the resources. So what is preventing us from uniting Africa for a better Africa for all of us? What at all is preventing us? Our egos? Let us put it aside and then fight for this unification of Africa. Enough is enough from the disrespect. This is so disrespecting. And as I said, I now understand why the minister in Ukraine or the government spokesperson had said that the conflict, the war between NATO and Russia in Ukraine is more than the African leaders. Because if in your own backyard, in your own continent, NATO could order you to go home and do not try to mediate between the war in your own continent. What are you doing in Ukraine, Russia, when it is NATO fighting Russia in Ukraine? What are you doing there? I now understand the minister, and the only way we can bring an end to this is for us to bring Africa together under one umbrella, under one government, one military, one currency, one passport. If we are able to do that, nobody will not point their filthy fingers in the eyes of African citizens and African continent. I thank you very much for coming around. Until we meet again, this is your brother Anzan Sidobia. And then I am One African Mission. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.